No, I'm not particularly sure. It kind of reminded me of one of the teams in the Chinese team league, but I'm not exactly sure which team it is.
All right. In the bottom left, it is the Wall himself, the man who has been known as basically the best Protoss in Europe, but also just in the foreign scene in general. For quite a while, it is ShoWTimE.
Spawning on the top right, we have the Russian Terran playing for Team GP, Arctur.
Now, Arctur, guys, of course, everyone knows ShoWTimE. They love ShoWTimE. They've seen how good looking he is. We're familiar with ShoWTimE. The world doesn't know as much about Arctur, and I will tell you, he has made a pretty good statement in this series, in the qualifying matches to get here. He's a player maybe a little bit less known to the common eye. Casters, it is me, M. Canning, here, joined by Future. You will hear that in about 2 minutes from now. But I will tell you about Arctur is what's cool about this tournament in general is as a player, especially if you're not a top dog, you get yourself known a little bit more. And for Arctur, I think, he's given himself a name that he's a bit to be feared with, really. He's not a pushover, and he deserves to be here.
Yeah, I think he's shown some really impressive games so far. I definitely don't think ShoWTimE's going into this expecting to straight up win. Also, very interesting to know, this is the first time I've seen someone do it. If you look at ShoWTimE as a wall, he put his gateway one hex to the left. Because even though if you put the gateway all the way in the front, it stops the wall off. But what happens is the Reaper can still jump down from the high ground.
Yeah.
They just can't jump up.
Yeah.
And this is a nice solution there from ShoWTimE. I'm surprised this is the first time I've seen this wall, honestly.
I actually always wall like this, but I go gateway on the right-hand side. I don't make gateway first on the left. Because I do wall like this as well. Because I know it's like that snug. It feels weird because it looks kind of weird. Now, I will say he did block the command center a little bit with his probes, which is going to obviously follow up with the Reaper across the map. Obviously going core first. From Arctur, we did not have a gas first, so pretty standard stuff. Looks like probably a Widow Mine drop following up. Will be interesting to see.
We might see a 1-on-1 push here with the Marine Reactor.
Yeah.
That's always possible. You could always go into Widow Mine drop off this, but I think going for a strong 1-1 push, especially on a map like Everdream, might be the choice.
I did not realize this. Arctur actually skipped Reaper, went Insta Reactor into double Marines, so that's why he has no bunker right now. He thinks he can just hold it with the Marines. And how do you feel about that, Future?
I think it's good, especially when everyone's going core first. I think the build's really strong, and now he's going into a Reaper, so he still wants that scouting. And honestly, getting the later scouting doesn't actually matter, especially if your opponent's not going to one-base all on you. So this is just a smart builder from Arctur.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting he's getting a late Reaper to scout as well. He went Marine Reaper with his 4th and 5th unit. That's kind of different.
Yeah, I think it's good. You'll see innovation mix this in sometimes, because if you don't think your opponent's going to one-base all on you, and in this situation, Arctur's playing against ShoWTimE, and ShoWTimE wants to be consistent. A little scuffle here with the Reaper and Marines here.
Yeah, I think all 3 of these Marines will go down, and ShoWTimE's going to be happy about this. Getting a nice trade. I mean, you've made all those Marines, and maybe, he's not going for a tank push yet, so it looks pretty standard, so it's not like he's knocked down the tank push, but in Adept and a Stalker, it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's good for Arctur. Like, 2 units for 4 Marines, I'll always take that trade as a Terran player, I think.
Yep. And we have ShoWTimE doing basically the meta Terran now, or meta Protoss build. Now, sometimes Protoss players like to get that 3rd gate, but if you're a strong enough player, you just go 2 gates. And I actually always see ShoWTimE do this. Oh, can he get it? No, he does get the base down. ShoWTimE always hides his probe below that 3rd base before he expands because he doesn't have a ton of units yet. And then, of course, warping in the Sentry, very standard stuff. He's going to go into 2 gates, followed up pretty quickly here, is what I'm expecting from ShoWTimE. Go up to 4 gates. And then we'll see exactly. It looks very standard Protoss. Now, we do see a push coming out. Kind of a later Hellion Marine drop from Arctur.
Yeah, this is... Honestly, we could have some huge damage here, especially considering ShoWTimE's already lost 2 units. I'm a little bit scared for ShoWTimE.
Yeah.
But, dude, he just always has intuition. Like, he always knows this thing's going to happen.
Yeah. Now, it is going to be interesting to see how he does this. Does ShoWTimE see it? ShoWTimE does not see it. Reaper going to the main, or the natural, kind of a giveaway. The Stalker's now coming up to the main. But here he is with the Hellions in the Marines, going to be trying to find some damage. 2 probes going down instantly. Only 3 Stalkers here right now, and they're battling the Marines. The Hellions going to town for free. Only finding 3 probes right now. And it's a bit of a close scuffle. Decent split, but 6 probes going down. And the 3 Hellions are still alive right now. Blink is done and is going to shut this down. Ooh, I would have liked to see him keep those Hellions in down on the ground.
Yeah, what I would have really liked is for him to just have the Marines fighting in the middle line and then load up the medevac to the 3 Hellions and
Hmm.
force the issue because there weren't enough stalkers to deal with both of the issues, right?
Right.
Still not the worst, and he's also going into a 1-1-1 all in.
Yep.
I mean,
He is.
well, 3-1-1 all in, but I like this a lot for Arctur.
Wow.
This is not the
Even
worst.
the 2 extra racks in the main base. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what's really confusing is he's going 5 racks stemless Marine, right? And this
Right.
is fine. I actually think this all in's really strong, especially considering during that harassment, ShoWTimE F2'd his Phoenix, his hallucinated Phoenix back home, so he doesn't have scouting.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting +1 attack without stem. I've never seen that.
Yeah. Now he is getting stem. Interesting. Okay, so he's.
Yeah, this is kind of.
Yeah, I wasn't actually sure about these five racks. I mean, that's kind of a bit of a tell that it is going to be an all-in. You could have gotten that third CC, but instead you decided to get 2 more racks. It is very fortunate for him. Now, did the sentry go down? No, there is a sentry that will be able to scout. Okay, now he is going to scout right now. That will be nice for him. But, I mean, just standard stuff from ShoWTimE. It doesn't change his build too much. We did see the 2 gates come in, and now the Forge. Now we see extra gates ramping up. I expect ShoWTimE to stop at 56 workers or so once he sees exactly what is coming. And I mean, we're gonna have a big push, and I think on Everdream, this push can be very strong on this map. But wow, Banshee as well from Arctur. He's got a lot of extra pieces that maybe you don't normally see.
Yeah, I would have really liked him to just push out with the stemless, combat shadowless Marines and just do a big all-in off of a ton of Marines, Banshees, and tanks. But now he's sat home, and I'm actually liking this more and more for ShoWTimE as time goes on.
Yeah, I agree. I actually thought I mean, with the way he had the barracks and no add-ons, I thought the push was going to happen basically right away.
Yeah, I would have really liked that.
And then, but now, I mean, he's got a lot of Marauders. He is getting Widow Mines, which I don't hate. Widow Mines instead of tanks in this spot can be okay, considering there is... Now, we have the Banshee in the natural and in the main. There are 2 Banshees. Banshee in the natural finding a little bit of damage. No shield battery here. Where are the observers? There are 3 observers on the map, but one in the... Nothing at the natural right now. Banshee getting a decent number of kills here. Okay. One in the main getting pushed back. The natural trying to find more damage. Getting a little bit greedy, going back in. But, okay damage. But again, it's like, you know, you're doing a little bit of harass. Now ShoWTimE does see the army coming in. I mean, it should be an SCV pull here, should it not?
Yeah, 100%. And this SCV pool can actually straight up kill ShoWTimE here because there's no Templar Archives, there's no Archons. But he's not pulling SCVs yet.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, maybe he felt like he got enough kills with the Banshee, then maybe he could still turn this into a normal macro game. A little bit interesting to see him go to the natural instead of the third. Maybe he thinks he can knock down the Robo. There is no shield batteries at the natural. Only 1 tank here. A ton of Widow Mines, which I do like. No medvacs, but I mean, he does have stim, okay. A little bit scary. Okay, the medvacs are now coming. He is going to go for a third on location, so he's not actually going completely all in. Stimming forward, trying to find a few Zealots, and he will find a few units, but the stim is pretty brutal right now. Stim, only 2 medvacs coming in. Now he's actually going to be going for a drop. Interesting. 2 medvacs going to the main, looking to find some damage, and he's repositioning at the third. And there's not a whole lot to handle this for ShoWTimE. 2 Widow Mines is a pretty... Okay, he is bringing a lot of units to the main, and he will be able to clean this up. But now it is set up for Arctur to set up at the third base with his tanks and his Widow Mines. Now there is a super battery here. I would like to see him try to get it, but now I'm not sure about this for Arctur. He's so deep, no medvacs. He is trying to find some damage. The medvacs getting pushed away as well, pushing on top of an overcharged battery. I'm not sure I like this.
Yeah, this is looking kind of dicey here for Arctur. Really strong defense here from ShoWTimE. Splitting his units perfectly. Strong shield battery placement.
Yep.
I think it's going to be beginning of the end there. I really think he should have SCV pulled here. I think Arctur was doing a little... He was trying to do too much at once, I think. Like, ShoWTimE had a very straightforward plan. He's going to make Stalkers, Zealots, Immortals, and have a strong economy. Arctur, you know, he's doing a lot of different things at once. I think he needs to have a bit more focused plan.
Yeah.
I mean, pushing up this ramp is a little questionable, losing to Immortals, but...
Yeah, a decent fight there for Arctur. Now he is down 18 SCVs. He's in trouble, no doubt about it. I mean, StarCraft is tough. That's why it is always hard. In RTS, you make a decision, you make a couple snap decisions. Maybe the Banshee, maybe he's played in practice, and usually it works out well when he goes into macro and follows up into a late game. I think this game specifically, I like the moves he was trying to make with the medvac and the Hellions. Now we have a Prism coming into the main base with 4 Zealots, and there's nothing here. I wouldn't mind seeing ShoWTimE posture outside the third base while the Zealots come in Now we see Arctur going across the map, but the observer sees all that is the cue for the Prism to go in, because ShoWTimE sees his armies across the map. We're going to have a big warp in the main base. And Arctur reacting actually quite quick, but will he have enough to handle this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is a lot of zealots. And at this point, he's going to be forced all in, attacking into a defensive position from ShoWTimE, and this is a situation that ShoWTimE loves to be.
Yeah, nice observer placement. He has 3 observers from ShoWTimE blinking forward. He knows his army's bigger. He knows his army's stronger. He knows he's getting a lot done in the main. Zealot's actually starting to get cleaned up. But the supplies are telling the tale. There's 38 workers left for Arctur. It's just a matter of time before ShoWTimE ramps up, and he is just pushing forward. Even though the army supplies are similar, the army is quite a bit stronger from ShoWTimE. All these Archons, all these Stalkers, all these Zealots. Now there's no medvacs left, so every stim gets more painful for Arctur.
Yeah.
Still a Zealot in the main base.
Fighting as well as he can, getting 2 Archons, but too little, too late. GG.
GG is called. ShoWTimE taking it down. I actually don't hate some of the moves Arctur is making. Of course, ShoWTimE.
I honestly liked his builder a lot with the Hellion. He went Marine and the Reactor into a later Reaper, and then went to a Hellion drop. Like, I think he had some cool ideas with the opener.
Yeah.
I just think that his transition, I'm trying to do a little too much, I think.
Yeah. I think ShoWTimE, of course, showing us why he is such a strong player. Always been a very strong player. And he just played very clean game. I think, especially versus someone like Arctur, not sure exactly if he knows Bly's up one game. I think Bly can basically seal Arctur's fate, I believe. Yeah, Arctur needs some help. But Arctur doesn't know that, and hopefully he's not watching any of the other streams. He's just playing like if he wins 2 games, he makes it. And I don't. It's tough because when you're the underdog, Arctur is the underdog. ShoWTimE obviously one of the best players in the entire region. You're trying to make moves, and sometimes they don't work out. That happens sometimes.
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not a bad game from Arctur though.
Yeah.
I think definitely a strong game. It's just ShoWTimE's also strong.
Yeah. Now I'm going to guess. I'm not sure how the vetoes went. I actually would have expected. I would have expected ShoWTimE. I mean, maybe ShoWTimE wanted to have the second half of the vetoes, but I would expect this to be ShoWTimE's map and then Everdream to be Arctur's map. But I'm not sure.
I think Everdream's a map that Protoss are generally okay with. Like, I think it has a scary tank spot at the
it's
third.
not too bad.
I think it has a scary tank spot at the third. But I think after you get past that third tank spot, I think it's pretty comfortable for Protoss.
Yeah. I think. Okay, my scene switched. Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice and big map, and especially if, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure, these guys are both EU guys, I'm sure ShoWTimE knows Arctur pretty well, but if you think your opponent's going to go maybe for a tank push, maybe something more aggressive, you usually want the map to be a little bit bigger, give you a little more space, especially if you think you're the superior player. If the game goes on long enough, you're going to like your spot. So I would guess this is my map pick, but maybe Arctur's got something planned for us here. I kind of hope he does.
What do you feel about this map as a whole?
I mean, I feel pretty pained when I play Zerg here, but I don't mind it versus Terran. It's, I don't know, sometimes it gets pretty scrappy where it can be hard to expand. Once you get to 4 or 5 bases, it feels like I'm sometimes fighting for those extra bases.
Yeah. Does the economy, like how you mine fewer minerals on this map, does that affect Protoss? Like, how much does that hurt you?
It depends, I think, exactly what type of style you're going for. I think it does. I mean, I think it affects Protoss, but I think it depends exactly what style. If you're going gas heavy, you're going mineral heavy. I would like to see. I think this map is a map where we'll see ShoWTimE maybe go for a Phoenix opener. I think is an okay thing on this map. I will say this is actually an interesting map. I'm not sure if you're aware. The natural is kind of weird for like drops and stuff. Like the natural third base.
Yeah.
It's not great. You don't have a lot of airspace. I mean, like, there's one spot you can live in between the natural and the third base, but it's kind of weird, honestly. So that might play into these players' mind. Oh,
yeah, I think it's a nice position for just parking a little mine drop there.
Yeah. I guess we could introduce them. In the bottom left, it is our German, one of the strongest players we know, and the one we love. It is ShoWTimE.
In the top right, we have the Russian Terran with his strong builder choices, going Marine Reactor again. We have Arctur.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I basically feel like I've seen a lot of ShoWTimE games. He does like to change it up a little bit, but his standard is definitely more Wow, very thorough probe scout. Unless he's very thorough probe scout. He's a little bit scared of something here. His attack moving all across the side of the map.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to be consistent. I think
Yeah. I feel like most games he will go blink 2 gate into third base and 2 more gates into forwards. That's basically the ShoWTimE standard from what I've seen. I did see he does sometimes mix in a Colossus drop, but I don't think he's going to do it here. Looks like, very standard stuff from both players coming out right now. We should expect the first tech, and it is the Twilight Council again. Just very standard Protoss moves right now. Depth getting across the map. He will not be able to stop this command center from going up, but it's not too big a deal.
I really think he could have if he really tried for it. Like that CC finished up very early.
Okay.
But
even with this Marine count though, him going past all these Marines on this map.
You can still kill the SCV, right? You can get I think you can get the SCV, and that delays the CC for quite a while. I think that might be a worthwhile trade.
Yeah.
I think it really depends because you can see where the Marines are with your first Shade, right?
Right.
So
you can.
I think you can judge based off that.
I wouldn't mind seeing a. I don't love it, but I wouldn't mind maybe an armory play. I think we would have already seen the armory if we were going to see the fast burst.
I think you get the armory after you come out of back.
Do
so
you? I'm not as familiar with it. It's possible. I mean, you would have time, right? Because you'd have to go across the map still. But you'd be hitting at around 4. How long does it take an armory take to build? How well do you know your turn?
40 seconds.
40?
So the armor would be done. So he starts at barracks.
So we should see the third base. Yep, around the right time. I mean, basically very similar to what we had last game. Actually, no, Arctur win Hellions last game. This game we have a standard Widow Mine drop, and now the Adept getting in is actually kind of annoying because he wants to be across the map with the 2 Widow Mines right now, picking nice saves on some of the SCVs, and he will get the Adept.
Nice control here from Arctur. That's not bad.
He won't get the Adept, but or will he? All these Marines.
Oh,
I'm trying to find it.
that's a bit unlucky.
I wonder if he was actually planning on maybe just walking the Marines to the third base while the Widow Mines come in, but now he kind of sees what's happening. And, I mean, I'm expecting 2 more gates to come down from ShoWTimE anytime, really. But we see, I mean, this is what happens. You get this many Stalkers to handle the first Widow Mine drop, coming out to scout as well. I don't mind this position for either player right now, really. I think it's going to come down to the Widow Mine drops and exactly how they fall up. Looks like, nope, just 1 tank. Widow Mine's trying to find in, but there's a spotter pylon here, future.
Yeah, strong spotter pylon. I do believe though, I don't know, am I right or incorrect about this? Air units have 1 more vision range than buildings, or are they the same?
I could not tell you. I'm honestly not sure. I know for a fact though that this pylon will see this medvac. Unless this is high ground here, which I don't think it is all high ground. Unless it is.
Yeah, I'm not exactly
if
sure.
that was completely high ground, then he wouldn't see it. But if it's not completely high ground, now we do see the Forgeless play where he's going Mass Gate, which I do not mind, and it looks. I mean, I actually don't hate Arctur's build here. I mean, he's only on 1 tank, and he's going into Widow Mines, which I actually feel can be good if you're going for this very fast gateway explosion, no forge. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Now,
this Widow Mine drop finally going in might catch the Sentry.
Yeah. A lot going on as well. Nice. Okay. Well, I like what's happening here.
Yeah,
but
this has been good for Arctur.
It's setting up for the push across the map, and the Stalkers. ShoWTimE was fighting the army at the front with the Stalkers, but now the tank push is already here. But this is not a lot of Terran versus a lot of Charge is not done yet. Wouldn't mind finding only 1 worker, I believe. Oh. And the fight starting. The Zealots walking in. The shield battery not done just yet, but once the shield battery comes in, especially if it becomes a super battery, Stalkers in the back. This is looking like a cleanup. It is a cleanup.
Yeah, it looked like something could have been there. I think if his stem was done as he was pushing, there could have been something. But I think his stem was just a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Mixed in with the defensive shield battery, I think it's a little too much there for ShoWTimE.
Now,
strong defense.
Still wouldn't mind finding 2 more workers. Now, I will tell you, ShoWTimE not all in. Now he is getting a forge, but the worker count actually not bad for Arctur. And now taking a bit of a trade, ShoWTimE getting some nice micro done, but you know, he went for that heavy gateway style. Now he is going only 1 white forge. I like to get a second forge if this is the situation, but he's only on 1 gas. This is a spot that is tough for the Terran to recognize, but you're actually in a pretty okay spot because Protoss has very few gas, very few upgrades, and it's actually just gateway units. It's not that bad for Terran right now.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. You just need to be comfortable with going into a third and taking your upgrades, right? Like, I think if Arctur sits back and goes for a 2-2 timing with Ghost, I actually like it quite a lot for him. due to the economy and later tech for ShoWTimE.
Yeah.
But there's also a very strong chance that he'll have Terran syndrome and just
Wow.
overattack.
Missing the Observer and the Stalkers, ShoWTimE has not seen this army at all. Now, he is kind of in a position where he could see it. Actually, a drop to the main would have been very nice here.
Yeah, I think a drop to the main would have been really, really strong.
Yeah. Now, he's trying to find some of the Stalkers. I mean, I don't mind Arctur being on the map. It's a little bit scary. Now the drop coming in, I don't hate it, but it's pretty risky. He is no scan in the main either. Pretty gambling. But he is in the main base with a lot of Widow Mines. His army getting down. We'll see how much is warped in. A lot of Zealots coming in. Getting blocked by their own Zealot. And a bit of positioning here for Arctur.
Yeah, really strong job there. 3 probes, killed off some Zealots, losing next to nothing, just a few Widow Mines.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that Arctur. That's good.
I would love to
It doesn't look like he wants to go into 2-2, though. I think he'll go for a 1-1 all-in.
We have Zealots in the main base, finding 7 SCVs, and there's only 2 Widow Mines. Maybe Friendly Fire. Nice pickups for ShoWTimE.
Widow Mine shot.
Friendly Fire. I would like to see a warp in here, but the push at the front as well happening at the same time. Action everywhere. Zealots in the main. Zealots at the front. Arctur looks like the supply is falling. A lot of SCVs going down in the main. I think maybe he thought he cleaned it up in the main. I'm not exactly sure. We see Zealots going absolutely ham. It's going to make this basically an all-in for Arctur, who is down a ton of workers, who is diving in on these Immortals. His bio is actually in decent numbers here, and if he can clean up this army, maybe he can make something happen, but he has lost a lot back at home.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how ShoWTimE does it. He's in these situations that look like they could really always go either way, and he always comes out on top.
Yeah, and now we see, I think it's just Archons. I don't think he's made, does he have Storm yet? I'm not exactly sure. The Prism still being annoying, and I mean, actually, it's a very tough spot, because if he didn't lose all those workers, I actually would have liked this position for Arctur. Again, because we only have 1 Forge for ShoWTimE. We have no AoE yet. Actually, yeah, he does not have Storm yet. I don't know if he's forgotten Storm.
I think he's forgotten Storm, because he's not morphing those to Archons.
Right,
Yeah,
they're building up energy. So it's possible. It is possible that maybe, with the lack of Storm, you know what ShoWTimE needs is he needs like a drop or something where he needs to use Storm and he realizes it before the real fight happens. Because he's going to put all these High Templars in a Warp Prism and he's going to drop them to Storm. And if he doesn't have Storm, I mean, there is definitely a chance for Arctur. His army is pretty big. He's down a lot of workers, but his army is bigger right now.
Yeah, because I think there's no chance that Arctur kills ShoWTimE if he just has 2 more Archons. But thinking that you have Storm and then miss Micro in the fight, like this could be trouble.
Yeah, I would. What ShoWTimE has been good with, or Arctur has been bad with, I'm not sure. Is there's 3 observers on the left-hand side. I would love to see them be cleaned up now. He sees this coming already, but he's still going to find a bit of positioning here, and there is no Storm, so it is possible. Only 4 medvacs there. So much army not with him. Zealots cleaning up the 3rd base, basically forcing this all in, and ShoWTimE instantly pushing it back. This is looking really nice for ShoWTimE. The army now splitting away, trying to find some damage at the 3rd base. Arctur's entire army. The drops from ShoWTimE. He realizes it. Now he uses for feedback. Nice feedback. Nice, crisis management. Realizing he doesn't have Storm. And this is such a low Terran army.
Yeah, it's just too many stands. ShoWTimE's gonna hold. Time hour.
I mean, the counterattack of Zealots, of course, going in. I mean, just the counterattack of Zealots has been the story. The Prism in the main has been the story. And just obviously solid defense. Honestly, the 3 observers, also huge. I mean, he's always saw these drops coming, and he's catching the army. And this is looking like the end of Arctur's DreamHack Masters run. And it was a good one. But ShoWTimE is showing us that, yes, he is indeed a very strong player. I think it does feel like there was some space for Arctur to win this game. I wouldn't have minded seeing him going into Ghost or something as well. Because, now we finally have the double forge. But for a long time, ShoWTimE's tech and his upgrades were not good. And there was a chance for Arctur, but ShoWTimE, make a nice defense after nice defense. And you kind of take it for granted. You kind of want to give Arctur, be like, yeah, he played all right just because ShoWTimE is the favorite. But looking good for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think ShoWTimE's just going to close this game out. You could wait for 2-2, but I don't even think that's necessary. You just go across the map right now.
Yeah,
Storm has finished job.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a little just too much for ShoWTimE here.
Right. We have no Ghost, only 1 Viking. I mean, the Viking is not as necessary. Can help a little bit with the Prism. Also can help with the Prism in the main base. But ShoWTimE realizes it. He's about to be maxed. His upgrade's not going to finish for this fight, but with 4 High Templars versus no Ghosts, I just don't know how Arctur's going to do it. And we do have probably the final fight coming in. The Zealots, the Archons. The Storms are big. They're all money. And we're going to have a big warp in. And there's just too much ShoWTimE here. He's warping in.
massive
Archons. Really nice fight.
Yeah, and that's going to be a game. I think we'll be seeing GG. GG has been called from Arctur. Well played.